Hi, my name is Mohammed Kajee, and this is Cape Town. The city of Cape Town is located in the Western Cape province of South Africa and can be found on the southern tip of the African continent. The city has a world-renowned reputation for its jaw-dropping scenery, diverse wildlife, and multicultural population, making it a tourist's paradise. Fondly known as the Mother City, Cape Town was originally developed by the Dutch East India Company in 1652 as a supply station for sailors. The city then grew rapidly, quickly becoming the economic and cultural center of the historic Cape Colony. Currently, the city of Cape Town covers a geographic area of roughly 400 square kilometers and hosts a population of just over 400,000 people. The greater metropolitan area is home to some 3.5 million people. Cape Town's rich history and cultural diversity has resulted in a multitude of building styles and architecture sprawled across the city's landscape. French, Dutch, Victorian, and German architecture can still be found throughout Cape Town. The city itself, or the City Bowl as it is locally known, was built between the iconic Table Mountain National Park and the turquoise waters of the Atlantic Ocean. The vast majority of buildings found in the City Bowl are made from concrete, glass, and steel, with smaller houses being made primarily from brick. The city has a well-maintained network of tarred roads and highways that provide access to the city's some 1 million motor vehicles. Beyond the City Bowl, the larger metropolitan area can be found in a region known as the Cape Flats. Here, South Africa's disparity between rich and poor becomes apparent. On the outskirts of the Cape Flats, one can find the Cape's informal settlements or townships. Rural homes are normally made from corrugated iron, with roads reduced to sand and gravel. Cape Town is one of South Africa's main economic hubs. The city has an annual GDP of $57 billion. Finance and business is the largest sector, making up 28% of the economy, with manufacturing coming in second at 20%. IT and the tech industry has shown recent growth, further boosting the city's tertiary sector. Tourism and agriculture also play significant roles in the city's economy, together making up more than 15% of the GDP. The city is found in the immensely diverse Cape Floral Kingdom, or the fynbos biome as it is locally known. This world-famous floral kingdom has been recognized as a biodiversity hotspot. The Cape Floristic region represents less than 0.5% of the area of Africa, but is home to nearly 20% of the continent's plant diversity. Surprisingly, compared to the rest of South Africa, Cape Town has a Mediterranean climate with characteristics warm, dry summers and cool, wet winters. The city's climate is dominated by the warm Agulhas current on its eastern side, the cool Benguela current to the west, and large low-pressure systems moving up from the Southern Ocean. The average annual temperature in Cape Town is 22 degrees Celsius. Summer temperatures peak in February with a mean monthly maximum of 27 degrees and a mean monthly minimum of 16. Average winter temperatures are lowest in July with a mean monthly maximum of 18 degrees Celsius and a mean monthly minimum of 9. Rainfall in Cape Town is concentrated mainly during the winter months. On average, Cape Town receives about 50 millimeters of rainfall in the summer months and 320 millimeters of rain in the winter. Total annual rainfall ranges from 500 millimeters to 1,400 millimeters, depending on the exact geographic location. Cape Town is frequented by storm fronts pushing up from the Southern Ocean, which results in heavy rainfall during winter. These types of intense rainfall events can often lead to localized flooding. In recent years, the city has experienced a number of devastating winter storms, resulting in flash floods. Cape Town experienced localized flooding events in 2013, 2014 and 2016, with the most recent and severe of these occurring in June of 2017. 8 people were killed and more than 800 homes were damaged. In addition to this, Cape Town also faces severe risk of wildfires. These fires are a natural driver in maintaining the fynbos vegetation that surrounds the city. In recent years, the city has had major fires in 2000, 2006, 2009, 2015 and 2017. The 2015 fires were one of the most widespread in recorded history and cost the government of the Western Cape just over $1 million. However, none of these extreme weather events compare to the current drought crisis facing the city. Cape Town has had regular drought-like conditions, with the last 4 occurring in 1986, 1991, 2000 and 2005. The current drought started in 2015 and is still ongoing, with scientists suggesting that this could be the worst drought to hit the region in the last 100 years. As it stands, the city of Cape Town, along with the rest of the Western Cape province, is expected to run out of drinking water by March 2018. Total storage across all the dams in the province sits at just over 30%. Given the prediction of further delays in next year's winter rains, the government, along with the South African National Defence Force, are preparing an emergency disaster management plan. The effects of climate change, along with the El Niño cycle, are the main candidates responsible for this drought. Climate observations conducted between 1967 and 2000 found that the Western Cape Province has seen a 1-degree rise in temperature. The Western Cape Province has shown the most significant warming in the country, exceeding the global average of 0.74 degrees Celsius over the last 100 years. Time series analysis shows significant warming trends between December and March, as well as between July and April. Precipitation trends in Cape Town are difficult to analyze because of the high level of inter-annual variability. Generally, the mountainous regions around Cape Town show little change or a positive trend, whereas low-lying areas show a declining trend in precipitation. But how will Cape Town's climate continue to change in the near future? Show similar trends over the short term, irrespective of the emission scenario we find ourselves in. The IPCC's AR5 report predicts that the western parts of southern Africa will experience high warming rates under both A1 and A2 emission scenarios. Projected increases in temperature by 2030 for the region range from 0.8 to 1 degree Celsius under the low emissions RCP 4.5 mean model scenario. By 2065, the projected increase rises to between 1.5 and 2.1 degrees Celsius. Under the high emissions RCP 8.5 scenario, the region is likely to exceed the 1967 to 2000 baseline by between 3 and 6 degrees Celsius. However, the global predictions made in the IPCC report do not provide granular data specific to the Cape sub-regions. As a result, the government issued a comprehensive report on climate change projections specific to the Western Cape. This report used empirical downscaling to produce fine-scale projections for the region. The downscaling models were based on 6 global model simulations. Downscaling predictions indicate an increase in temperature of around 1 degree Celsius to 1.5 degrees Celsius at the coastal regions and possibly as high as 2 to 3 degrees Celsius for the inland areas by the mid-2030s. There is less scientific confidence in projections for rainfall. Regardless of these uncertainties around rainfall projections, the majority of models suggest a decrease in rainfall over the western part of southern Africa in the coming decades. The IPCC's AR5 report projects less average rainfall, particularly in the western regions of South Africa. These projections are true for both RCP 4.5 and 8.5 scenarios. Local research also indicates changes in rainfall patterns, with the winter rainy season forecasted to become shorter. The first winter rains are already starting later, with the rainy season becoming concentrated into only 2 months, namely June and July. A vulnerability assessment conducted by the Western Cape Provincial Government reaffirmed the IPCC's findings, with downscaling models indicating at least a 5% reduction in rainfall, but this could be as high as 20%. The Climate Change and Biodiversity Department for the Western Cape confirms that the region will get drier and warmer. The decrease in rainfall coupled with increased warming will put extreme amounts of stress on the city's water resources. This could have substantial negative impacts on the city and its residents. Climate change is set to increase the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as storm surges, flooding, and drought. The strongest impacts of climate change in Cape Town will be on the security of fresh water supplies. It is generally accepted that under climate change scenarios, there will be a looming crisis in water supply in the Western Cape region. Water shortages will have significant impacts on Cape Town's food industry and agriculture sectors. There's also a possibility of increased flooding that could threaten large areas of the province. In Cape Town, many of the informal settlements are situated on the Cape Flats, where the high water table and inadequate infrastructure makes them particularly vulnerable to flooding. Cape Town also faces the threat of rising sea levels. The city of Cape Town administers approximately 307 kilometers of coastline. Current estimates of future eustatic sea level rise range from 20 centimeters to 90 centimeters, the best estimate being 50 centimeters by the year 2100. Increased occurrences of wildfires due to extended hot, dry periods will also impact the city in the future. This could have serious negative impacts on human life, infrastructure, and biodiversity. Other indirect impacts of climate change in Cape Town include changes in fish abundance and diversity in the surrounding fishing waters. This could have countrywide implications for food security. Transport and communications infrastructure may be physically influenced by extreme events such as flooding. Constant higher temperatures could have damaging impacts on roads such as asphalt. Heat could also have an effect on aircraft downtimes due to a lack of lift in the air. Cape Town's unique geographic location, topography and climate make it a candidate to experience the worst effects and impacts of climate change. Now more than ever, the city requires real efficient management and adaptation plans if the city is to avoid a series of climate disasters.